Exaggerating the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Shoulders back. Activating Ujjayi Pranayama. Inhaling energy and vitality of the universe. Exhaling our stress, our anxiety. Breathing into a new day and infinite possibilities. And exhaling the exhaustion, the excess of thoughts. Inhaling, here I am. And exhaling, fully present here and now. Sahana navatu, sanahau bunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahe, tejvanava aditanastu, ma vishavishavahe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. All right, welcome. You guys are feeling great. Can you see my entire screen?
Yeah.
Maybe on this side. So how you guys feeling today?
Good.
Today we're
Feeling
going to be seeing the 4 paths of yoga. In your manual is 205. So if you want to open your manual in that page. Let me know when you have your books open, 205, and please keep the cameras on. I will be more enthusiastic.
I'm ready.
Sammy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I was just grabbing my book. I didn't want to be moving all around.
All right, if you don't mind, please turn on your camera, please.
Like, I'm gonna stay on, I'll turn on my camera, but I'm gonna stay on mute because my dogs are a little rowdy right now.
Okay. No problem. Okay, so be more than welcome to take notes. Again, we are starting with the 4 paths of yoga. This is the 4 traditional paths, types of yoga. And they are like rivers that go towards the ocean. So different types of personality and different ways, no, to get into enlightenment. So first one that we're going to see is Raja Yoga. Raja means royal. So we can say that back on the days, this was only available for royalty. So you can consider yourself in that category, queens and kings, because this was higher knowledge and not everybody, let's say, had access to that, right? Actually, in India has a lot of like divisions on the castes. And I would say, is a little bit of judgmental, right? If we look in that way. So someone that maybe is a cleaner or a maid, back on the days, they will not have access to this type of practices. It was only for royalty, Raja Yoga. And this Raja Yoga is the yoga of self-knowledge. Write it down. The yoga of self-knowledge. So in this path is all about getting to know ourselves. First is with meditation, with the mind. And one of the ways that we can study the mind, that we already start a little bit, is the with Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, right? That is talking about the mind. And understanding who we are to be able to have a realization. We can say also that Buddha, Lord Buddha, was the one that changed this rule. So I don't know if you know a little bit. We can briefly mention about Buddhism. You have a chapter in Buddhism in your manual. Again, if I was you, I will be reading every day a little bit about this stuff. So Buddha was a king, a prince. His name was Siddhartha. Yeah, actually also has a movie somewhere, maybe easier. But he was very curious about the root of suffering in the world. Has sometimes he will come off the palace and he will see the homeless and see the people with disease and sick. And he was making this as existential questions about how come I have everything and I'm like, oh, with all this abundance and these people are suffering. Why is this happening? And, law of karma and things like that. So eventually he renunciated the kingdom, renunciated his wife and his kid, and he exiled, just like Rama. Remember we talk about Rama? He exiled like 10 years to the forest in search of these answers. And he had a guru and he practiced meditation and yoga. And after many, many fails and many, many years, actually, he almost died trying because he also went into that state of meditation in the cave without eating and just having like one leaf a week. And he's like, no, if I die, I will definitely not know what happened and I will not be able to help anybody. So anyhow, after some time, he actually did sit under a tree And you can actually visit this tree in India today where Buddha sit now. And after some time, he avoiding all the temptations, and he had like demons attacking him, like showing like beautiful women. They want to seduce him. And then demons that were really scary. And he was just meditating, and he was just very focused in his meditation. So eventually he became enlightened. So Buddha was a human being. It's not like a god from another planet. It was a human being. And then he became enlightened. And after that, instead Siddhartha, he became Buddha. That very similar to Jesus, became enlightened through compassion and through love. So Buddhism is all about compassion and love, which is also really beautiful. Detachment, love, acceptance. And then he returned to the kingdom. And then he changed this law that he said, before, let's say, I am daughter of a priest or a rabbi or someone like in religious position. And because I'm direct daughter, then I immediately get same status, right? I'm also will be like a, in this category. Or the same way, if you were the son of a warrior, then you will also by lineage need to become warrior, and you know. And so then Buddha said, no, not exactly. This is not like this. Like if you are son of a priest and you have some knowledge in scriptures and Vedanta and all this, you need to prove what you know. And in the same way, he said, and people of low caste, like the shukras, the cleaners, the people that are in the street, picking up the garbage, let's say, they can also study the scriptures. And maybe they can also achieve a higher level, not because they're cleaners now, that they need to be cleaners forever. Because if you achieve, again, Raja Yoga, yoga of royalty. So all this information about controlling the mind and manifesting and developing yourself and becoming a superhuman definitely was for high class. But then when Buddha came back, he said, no, this is available for everybody. And because he was son of a king, then the people obey him. He wasn't just a cleaner saying that. He actually was son of a king, and he understood that equanimity, everybody is the same. So also, like I was saying, here is the study of the self. Who am I deep down? And having a self-awakening, How are we going to do that? In Raja Yoga, we have this Ashtanga Yoga, no? The Ashtanga Yoga is inside what? The Yoga Sutras. Trying to start getting all this clear. Is on the second chapter of the book, and is the 8 steps to have a self-realization. What is a self-realization? Is realize who you are beyond all these labels and experiences that we have here, and impressions and emotions. And we are Sat, Chit, Ananda. We are eternal soul that never dies, and we are full of knowledge, and we are full of compassion and love. And when we are not there, is because we are not in yoga. We are not unified, we are divided. And then we cannot see who we really are deep down in our essence. So Raja Yoga is basically what we are doing right now, right? Because we are going to be studying who am I beyond my memories, who am I beyond my emotions, who am I. Actually, this was also technique of Ramana Maharshi. Remember, we also spoke about him. I also asked you as a homework for you to do a research about him. Today is really easy. We have all the digital information. And if you want to really study, get a pen and paper and write about Ramana Maharshi, and you will remember him. One of his techniques was to inquire with him, and the other technique was to ask, who am I? Has a meditation. You sit down and who am I? Who am I? You might get a lot of confused answers. You might get the ego trying to answer. And eventually you will start getting correct answers, you know. So who am I is a beautiful technique of meditation. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I deep down? Sit and ask. Ask your heart. Your heart will ask God and you will get some answers. Who am I? Back to the Raja Yoga. Why we're talking about this? Because we need to understand our essence to discard what we are not and be able to have that awakening or enlightenment or self-realization. One of the ways is the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 steps that we have. Now you will be tested. Every day you gotta repeat at least once in the mirror, okay? Yamas is the do's, niyamas is the don'ts. And we purify the body with asana, we purify the mind with pranayama, then we have pratyahara, we start controlling our senses so we're not like wild animals. And then finally we have some concentration, dharana. And once we can concentrate, then we have meditation. And then after meditation, then you're going to start having glimpse of samadhi, right? You start connecting with God here and there. Samadhi after meditation. So you have the 8 steps to enlightenment that is part of Raja Yoga. So the asanas are there, the pranayamas are there. So we can, to generalize, you can write on your notes that most styles practiced today, like what? Hatha Yoga. Got the pen. Hatha Yoga, Vinyasa, Ashtanga Vinyasa, Kundalini Yoga. All these different styles are in a way under Raja Yoga. Why? Because we are practicing something that will make us feel that essence that we're talking about, right? I'm going to open my nadis with Hatha Yoga pranayamas. I'm going to wake up my chakras with Tantra. I'm going to purify my body with these Ashtanga vinyasas, right? So slowly I'm going to start using my body like a vessel, like a vehicle for enlightenment, my body and my mind, right? So through this, I will understand and I will get to samadhi, get to enlightenment. Any questions about Raja Yoga? Anything?
Is it then generally pertaining to the physical practice
No, because pranayama
or the
is
combination of asanas and pranayamas?
right. Pranayama is not physical, so it's the 8 steps. So all the techniques that we're going to do in ourselves. So breathing, not specifically physical, but it's something that we're doing. And then when we control the senses, yeah, of course, fried food is tasty, but I control my senses because I have Vijnana Maya Kosha. I have a wisdom that even though fried food is tasty, it's terrible for me. So then I have pratyahara. I have withdrawal of my senses, the sense of eating whatever, right? So slowly we start applying those things naturally to get into this awakening of this kundalini, awakening of this energy, realizing who we are really. So these four paths of yoga, they take you to enlightenment. Rivers, they go to the ocean of bliss. So you choose which river you want to navigate. All right, moving forward. Then now we have Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the path of devotion or love. So here we are going to do practices that celebrate the divine. So we can do mantras, we can do prayers in another way. We have, blessing the food and dancing the holy names. So it's not more like a static, but it's more like, again, chanting and singing, very happy. And the Vaishnavas, or Vaishnava is the name in Sanskrit, the lineage, but known as the Hare Krishna community, are the ones that practice Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. And they worship Krishna, Krishna and Radha. Krishna and Radha, the divine couple, that the most sweet. Krishna, when he, so what Bhakti Yoga is telling us, that we need to have a more intimate relationship with God. For example, for me, God is my best friend. That's how I see God. Since I was very little, and I was many hours every day in solitude in the forest. I have no other friends. So God became kind of imaginary friend for me that I will talk to and I will feel his presence, right? And God, another interpretation is like God can be your father, right? Celestial father. And for the gopis in India, and you will see, sometimes when we go to the temple, you see the gopis, and the gopis are adorning themselves. They're putting like jewelry, and they're putting the best dresses, and arranging their hair with flowers, because they see Krishna has the lover. They want to serve and love. So you can create something more close. Like usually nowadays, sometimes, people, it's very abstract, right? Like God is something in the sky, abstract, that has no form, no shape, and it's hard to even have an image of it, and it's somewhere out there. But in Bhakti Yoga, usually when you do give a form or shape, so again, the ones that practice Bhakti is the Hare Krishnas, but we can say that any lineage or religion that is worshiping an image and serving with love is Bhakti. So then we have, of course, we have the Christians worshiping Jesus. Jesus is worshiping the whole planet. And Jesus is enlightened master. Jesus was lost in India for 10 years practicing yoga before he became enlightened, has a gap in the books. And Jesus disappeared and he was there, he was there. So has a book you can buy. It's called The Yoga of Jesus from Yogananda in Amazon. And definitely if you have anybody Christian, because sometimes we also talk about that. And then, some Christians, they condemn yoga because actually it did become too sensual, and too sensual can be too lusty, and too lusty is one of the things that we don't want to do, because we already talk about brahmacharya. Right? So if you were talking about moderation and now we make our practice super, super heavily sexy, then we have, this other community that will say, this is impure. So we gotta understand where they're coming from, right? But basically, if you worship Shiva, Lord transformation, um, Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, the Lord of preservations, like will teach us to love and to just be nice to each other, or whatever other, that's basically bhakti, no? Like you have devotion and you're going to serve. Um, so yeah, when you start completely removing the I am, like I'm going to do this, and just really humbly enter the mood of serving God, and your dance is for God. And when you're cooking for God, and you put in prayers in your food. And like I said, it becomes like a transcendental dynamic meditation. And I call it Bhakti rave. I think you will resonate with that. So imagine hundreds of yogis. They are dancing and chanting and jumping for hours. These are mantras that we are dancing. They're sacred sounds. And is absolutely no vitris, is no thoughts. You're just very involved in that action, in that present moment. And again, it can be any sacred music. Any lineage have their songs and their singing. So the point is that you are dancing and singing to the divine. You're celebrating the divine. And you get completely submerged in that. And your ego will subside so much, you will be contaminated by this love of devotion, then you will have again glimpses of samadhi, glimpses of enlightenment, with you are like high in God. Just, I told you, I don't know if I told you this, but one time I was dancing so completely lost in the dance. It was no mind, it was just the art of dancing and singing and completely joy. I forgot that I had legs. I thought I could fly, and I started jumping up and down, and then I twist my ankle really bad. And I even after twist my ankle, I was so happy still. I was just like completely in ecstasy of love. So again, it's important to experience this sometime in your life so you can taste it out. In India, they have 24 hours kirtan. So here comes a musician and chant, chant, chant. It has the harmonium, has the drums, and other musical instruments. Some woman may be singing, some woman may be dancing, up to you. And then after 4 hours, this person gets tired, gotta go home, take care of the kids, make dinner, whatever it is, and then someone else replace him. They gotta like take turns. So this some of the sacred places, they always have some chanting and music happening. Again, to elevate the vibration, to, those are all music for the divine. So yeah. So when you go to an ashram that is a Bhakti ashram, like I said, well, normally the program will be like you will be doing some chanting, clearly. And there's a lot of chanting always involved because the mind will surrender. If you are going there and thinking about, the ex-boyfriend or the mortgage or the test or your job, you don't have escapatory to start surrender to the sound, and everybody's singing, and then after that has a philosophy class, like let's understand what the heck we were talking about, because those are also in Hindu sometimes or in Sanskrit, and I am not a Sanskrit, expert. So then we get a book. Now we see the translations of what we just said, and we have a discussion. And then some teachers kind of break it down. Okay, what does this really means? Or how can we apply in our life? Or some topic will happen. So maybe, a 40 minutes lecture, not too long. And then more chanting. Now this time, maybe now they offer the elements and the food to these gods and goddesses. Again, it doesn't matter if it's Shiva, Krishna, or whatever. Usually kind of it's like more or less like this. Then they make this all cruelty-free vegetarian vegan food. Usually is a lot of preparations because remember, they are cooking for God. So it's always going to be, amazing food. So they put in these little plates and then they serve the gods, and then they close the curtains, let them contaminate the food. And in Bhakti Yoga actually has a homework that I ask you to create a little bit of an altar. Yeah. And I will tell you what to put in a moment, but so these are altars, right? So they have their gods there. They also have their teachers there. Now, if you don't know what to offer, what are we going to offer? The elements of nature. The elements. You can offer a glass of water. You can offer a flower representing the earth. You can offer a candle or 7 candles or whatever represents fire. You can offer incense representing the air, the ether. And this is what the gods will really be pleased with this, right? You can offer rice. In Buddhism, they offer rice representing the earth. Anyhow, so now all the gods are eating and we are chanting. Now we're not just chanting, now we are dancing because it's called, it is like, a little bit more animated. And so we're moving a little. Again, it's all optional. If you want to just be sitting, that's also no problem. But it's nice to move, it's nice to move. You shake it off, your stuff. Then, okay, they open the curtains, they already ate, and then we mix another. They basically do a prayer recognizing all the teachers of the teachers, which you can also write this called parampara. And the parampara is like a download of all the teachers before you, or all the people that actually had give you some knowledge. Because without knowledge, we cannot be teachers. Without knowledge, we cannot share the message with others. Remember that we need books and we need teachers, and forget about YouTube and Instagram. That's not reliable. So
how do you spell parampara?
Param, Param,
Okay.
Para.
Um,
Param, para. So this is a practice that you can do like for a few seconds before you teach or after you finish or you start. You can download your lineage and you just give thanks to all those personalities within yourself. So it can be first off your parents, right? Because they told you what is a spoon, what is a chair, how to ride the bicycle. So thank you. And if they didn't, okay, that's okay too. Thank you for give me life and move on. And that would be a nice practice there, live. And then
No, that's interesting. My mom actually, she was saying, she's like, isn't it kind of interesting that actually I'm your ancestors? Like we are the ancestors. I mean, it's not, and I kind of thought about it. I'm like, wow, you actually are, I guess, technically like my ancestors that are watching, and if I'm changing generational stuff and helping my ancestors, it's also helping my mother and my aunts and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was. I know ancestors
so
are in the sky and stuff too.
the female has uh, eggs from your grandmother in your ovaries. I don't ask me how this scientifically can happen, but inside your ovaries you have some eggs that might be mixed with your grandmother eggs magically. Talking about ancestral lineage, yes, definitely. Whatever happens with your grandmother, whatever happens with your mother, has a total connection. That's why, again, the message of the saints: accept with compassion, forgive for everybody.
Mm.
One of us needs to do it. One of us
Mm.
needs to break the cycle of hate and pain, right?
Okay, so then can I ask my question
Yeah.
actually? So yeah, that was the thing, I guess. The bangs actually weren't even an issue when I talked to her. She responded that she didn't know how much about self-esteem, and like she apologized, and then she ended up apologizing for like a bunch of other stuff, and there's like started crying in the like bigger picture, which I know, like I said, like I know there's wars going on, and there's people that don't even have their parents, but like we just kind of got sad because when we think about like reincarnation, it's like I don't like want to like not remember her or like not have like a different mom. So I think that I was like holding on to that like anger so like I wouldn't have to like face that fear of not having her or like remembering who she is like in the next lifetime.
Well, but let's stay on the present moment more than anything.
Yeah.
I think talking to your mom is great, and I think it's so much needed. So whatever dirty clothes we have, we need to do the laundry, and it's happening right now. So just keep talking to her. You don't need to, when we have this kind of like turbulences with our parents, we start from the basics again. What is the basic? A friendship and respect. You know,
Yeah, no, we have that. It's just like,
yeah.
so do you really like when you, yeah, die, do you not, do you get like new parents, or like do you like get to like reunite with your mom again?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, we're not going to worry about next life.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to stay in this life. We're going to stay
Yeah,
here.
okay, okay.
Right
Okay. Yeah.
now, yeah, is August 5th, 2025, and we need to be good right now. Whatever
I'm
is going to happen
sorry.
next
I
life,
know, I know it's like dramatic and silly. I'm sorry.
come back. Where are you going?
I'm
I
gonna get
guess
to
the fear
Australia.
though.
I know it's dramatic.
I get the fear. We understand the fear though. The worry that you have. Like it's
We do
important to you.
understand.
You're like
Yeah, tissue. Yeah.
like
The
you have
biggest
an
way,
attachment
yeah.
that
The biggest way that like has helped me kind of, I struggle with severe anxiety.
like severe my entire life I have. And the one thing that like has really stuck with me and has helped me sort of stay like in my mind and like in the present moment is like what Victoria just said. Like it's
Coming back.
Tuesday. It's Tuesday, it's August 5th. It's 2025 and that's where I am right now and this is what I'm doing right now and this is what I smell right now. And like really focusing on present and like finding peace, I guess, in the present.
Yeah.
At least that helped me a lot.
Plus, no one can remember the next life, and that is irrelevant.
Yeah, it's like all I know it's like all worldly attachments. That's what I'm trying to, yeah, not.
You just need to find, harmony with your
Yeah.
past, which included your parents. And that is now. That's forget about your next life. Just worry about your life right now. And then this is the parampara. When we acknowledge, like I even mentioned before, even sometimes, the teachers can be rough or the lessons can be unpleasant. But the parampara in the Bhakti yoga is just having a moment where you're going to, in your heart, as you're about to teach, download the teachers. And that can be the mom, the dad, that can be the teacher in your high school, that can be like a dance teacher, English teacher, that can be the yoga teacher, that can be anyone. For a second, you bring that into your heart and you give thanks because of that push, then now you are studying and you are teaching and like that, right? So that's called parampara. So again, in the Bhakti Yoga, we are going to be celebrating the divine. And the more that we submerge into that practice, the less overthinking or having mundane thoughts that we will have, because your mind will be purified by these sounds, by these prayers. And besides that, we are also has a moment when, we are dancing, and after the dancing, then we have the prasadam that I also had mentioned. Now the gods already ate, now you get the little bit of that rice or that salad, and you mix with the pot of everybody, and now the whole food is contaminated by the divine energy, and now you're eating God. And so even people that sometimes they need to run because they need to go, do other runs and take care of their family, they take food home. So they make then a dish to go because it's part of eating that prayer. So it's really cool, So this is a Bhakti Yoga. We're going to be visiting one of the places in Wynwood, and also has another place in Coconut Grove that, I don't know if we can do both, but at least we can do one. At least you know where it is and you can go anytime, right? That you feel a little like disconnected and you know that you always will have meditation and a dish of food there. And people are so nice and loving. They all treat you like family and really, present, and definitely is a good address to know in Miami. So yeah, Bhakti Yoga, the yoga that will bring you in such a state of happiness and pure love that you will get bliss out. And in Bhakti, we have this divine couple, Radha and Krishna. Okay, so in the avatars I had mentioned, actually God also went into evolution. God also was a fish, God was a boar, and then after many reincarnations and evolutions, then we have Vishnu with Vishnu, Vishnu, and then they're all the same person time after time, era after era, each 1,000 years, more or less, one of them descends to support humanity about the same values. So we have Vishnu, we have Krishna, and Buddha, and Christ, Jesus Christ. And those are the avatars that preserve humanity, you know, the bhakti, the love, the compassion, love, love, love. And so what happens here is that God, being the supreme personality, wants to experience how does it feel to have a love for God. So he cannot feel himself. So then he creates Radha. Radha is the female, which is the manifestation of this divine. So Radha, all she wants to do is to serve Krishna. She's crazy for Krishna. So then we have Leelas. Leelas are pastime loving stories between Radha and Krishna, and they're so sweet. One time, Radha was, you know, playing with all the girlfriends in the river, and here comes Krishna and hide their clothes. You know, has like funny stories. Krishna, when he was a baby, he killed this woman that was a snake demon dressed like a maid and was going to, you know, hurt him and Radha. So many different stories. So basically, it's like Krishna can taste how does it feel, that amount of love. And so Radha teach us also, especially females or everybody, you know, how to serve with love. So do you go there? Do you want some sweets? Do you want some food? Here is the book. And she's all the time, every day crying. She misses Krishna. She just want to be with Krishna. Just like Sita wanted to be with Ram. Remember, kind of the same thing. And she's just crazy. Radha is crazy for Krishna. And in a way, symbolic speaking, in the hidden messages, the metaphoric here is that we should be as crazy as Radha is for Krishna, as crazy we should be also in the mood of like, okay, I'm going to help the kids in the orphanage because I want to serve God in that way. I'm going to purify my body. I'm not going to get intoxicated. I'm not going to let anybody, you know, to come into my energy because my body is a vessel for God. So everything is for God. And you wash yourself is the temple of God. You become devotee of God and you become a vessel for God. Whatever is the God or the lineage that you will follow. But basically that is the intention, right? And in that way, you become an enlightened being because you basically are full of God in every possible sense, you know? Like I just hear mantra music most 99% of the time, unless I, you know, change it up a little bit, but most of the times is mantras and lectures about mantras. And sometimes, of course, we still don't understand everything. That's why we are studying. But just being around that bhakti energy, I already get purified. I start getting more and more in this process of like purifying my body, purifying my mind, purifying my heart. And remember that bhakti is the yoga of love. So you will feel your heart softening and opening and relaxing and feeling loved, and it's a different love. It's a divine love. Okay? So that is about Bhakti. Any questions about Bhakti?
I wanted to add something, not a question, but okay, have you read the Magdalene manuscript?
No.
It's basically like this lady that channels Mary Magdalene, and she talks about how Mary was a high Tantra priestess and she worshiped the divine so much that's how she was able actually to conceive Jesus. But it just made me think of Bhakti Yoga by worshiping the divine so much. That's how she was able to be the Virgin Mary. So I thought that was kind of
I
interesting.
think Magdalene was Jesus' girlfriend. No?
Mary Magdalene, but Mary, Virgin Mary also.
Okay.
Yeah, was also a Tantra priestess, and so it was saying that she would worship the divine so much. That's how she was able to conceive Jesus
Yeah,
and be a
totally. Yeah.
virgin. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Any questions about Bhakti? All right, so let's move forward to Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga, I'm sure you heard this word, karma. Karma is the yoga of selfless service. Karma is action. So this is a non-selfish action. This is karma yoga. In English, we can say there is charity, helping others without expecting gratification in return. Not to say that some people donate money here and there and they show up with the check, look what I did, look what I did. That will not be karma yoga. Karma yoga is doing something for someone probably more in need than you. Again, without expecting to be recognized for it. You offer the fruits of your actions to the divine, like your offering. Okay? So when actually we also had mentioned this, that in the Bhagavad Gita is where Lord Krishna for first time brings the four paths of yoga. Who spoke first about the four paths of yoga? Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Remember the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible of yoga? That I want you to read for sure. I give you a suggested author that is very easy and neutral to understand. And Ugo also put the whole PDF of the Bhagavad Gita on your WhatsApp group by Prabhupada. So every day you can read a little bit. In the Bhagavad Gita is where Krishna explains about the four paths of yoga, and the Bhagavad Gita is happening in this battle in Kurutesha between that Arjuna couldn't go to war with his own family, and Krishna is talking to him and giving him advices, and then Arjuna is having a panic attack, Arjuna is having a meltdown, And Krishna is talking to him, and eventually Arjuna says, yeah, all this that you're saying, my lord, because he thought that Krishna was his best friend. He also had another meltdown when Krishna showed all his bodies and heads and forms over the times. It's like, oh my God, I thought you were just my friend. But then Arjuna asked Krishna, so how are we going to control the mind? Like the mind is so hard to control. How can we control the mind? And then Lord Krishna says, karma yoga. So when you do some labor and some action and some work, that you do it for others, you do it out of your love, you will purify your ego. Because the ego is the one that needs recognition. I am doing this and I am this. And look what I am doing. And like that. But if you do this karma yoga, like we talk about even around the school, cleaning the floor or watering the plants, and you do the action, repeating mantra in your mind, and, I'm offering you this work, God, divine source, then you will get purified, right? I have so much stuff that we can do. So you have a whole list. I give you a page. So I say, please write your name and choose what you like to do. And then if you go to the Bhakti Center with me, then they feed the homeless every week. Catholic Church is not doing this, but the Hare Krishnas, they go right in downtown and they open the van full of food and everybody eats. And this is human rights. So you can support them. Of course, you can give money, you can bring a bag of rice, or you can go with them together and have the experience of feeling the energy when you're actually feeding someone that is hungry food. They're so grateful. It's like, thank you so much love. And you will get purified, because then the ego is like, it's not me like, look what I'm doing. It's all about serving the other with love, because God is inside all living beings. That's why we cannot discriminate. Spiritual people see this clearly. Religious people think that one is better than the other, and it's not true. So it doesn't matter if it's Hare Krishna, Buddha, or Christians, we all should be feeding the poor. Why is people don't have rice and water, no? So you can have a taste of this and see how you feel, because remember, the yoga is a science, and you need to experience this ecstasy dancing God, or this overflow of love serving the poor yourself. You have the experience and see how you feel about it, right? See what happens. So that is right here, Also, I mentioned Lotus House. Lotus House is a shelter from women and children, that single moms that are becoming homeless for X reason, domestic violence, drugs, blah, blah, blah. And now they have a child in their hand. So they go here. That's 10 minutes from us. Why, so has things, when you do karma yoga, you also will get, the universe will, see that, and you will get, blessings, and you will get recognition for your good deeds, right? God is watching everything, and then you will get something for it. Again, without expectations. You might get amazing health. You might not even be expecting a year from now you meet someone that will change your life and will love you so unconditional with all your stuff that you will feel so much love forever. right? Now, an example of karma yoga is Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Mother, you know who she is? Mother Teresa.
Wasn't she a bad person though, actually?
Mother Teresa of Calcutta.
Mother Teresa, like at the Catholic Church?
Yeah. Mother
Yeah.
Teresa of Calcutta is an example of karma yoga. She has an ashram or a monastery in India. And yeah, there are nuns. And all
I
they
thought
do
she did
is
some,
take care of the sick.
oh, I thought she did some messed up stuff or something, but I have to do my research.
No, she takes care of the sick. So people that have cancer, lepra, HIV, or whatever, they take care of them for 30 years, 40 years, 10 years. They renunciate their life and they surrender to their karma yoga, which is take care of the sick. And I was there. I was in her ashram in India. And even though I am very, normal, I entered the ashram and I didn't even want to touch anything because it was real sick people there. Like really sick, like dengue and vomiting and diarrhea, and just people that are completely sick and they don't have family and no one to take care of them. Malaria, I mean, you name. Now, the lepra, you know what lepra is? Yeah,
Leprosy?
leprosy, all kinds
Yeah.
of disease. And they live there and they take care of the sick people for the whole life.
Wow.
30, 40 years. So Mother Teresa of Calcutta, her whole life was taking care of the sick and the poor. So again, we are not in that level to renunciate our life and just do that, but we can do a little bit. We can do karma yoga once a month, once a year, something. We can do something. You can dress yourself as a cloud with a cloud big red nose and go to the pediatric oncological hospital where all the children have cancer and make them laugh. Has so many ideas, right? Has people that teach yoga in prison, and a lot of people, well, was condemned unjustly, no?
Yeah.
So many. Okay, so through karma yoga, through offering your actions to support others in need without looking for recognition of your ego, that will purify your mind, and therefore you will become one with God and you will become enlightened. And even though Mother Teresa was half of my body, so tiny and small, she had a huge heart and strength. Okay, our last one is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is the yoga of the intellect or knowledge. So basically, maybe this yogi is not into asanas too much, or is not like, chanting and dancing too much. This yogi is a scholar. Is a scholar. Is kind of a nerd, yeah. And So these jnana yogis, they study. They're going to know the Bible by heart. They're going to know the Yoga Sutras by heart. Kabbalah, I mean, Vedanta, Upanishads. Just they studied these verses so deeply and for so long and so many years and so many different lineages that they come to conclusion that God does exist. And they know God. And all the scriptures are very similar to each other with some differences. But basically, they recognize the presence of the one. However that one is called, then again, you put your glasses. If it is orange, you see orange. If it is blue, you see blue. And you put the name that you like. And God has thousands of names. But the Jnana Yogi, they study the different scriptures and they say, no, actually, God does exist. And, we know that God exists. So basically, you will purify your intellect so much that you will get into the Vijnana Maya Koshana, you will get this wisdom and this enlightenment where you understand God. And then therefore you also become one with it. Right? When we don't have ignorance and we see everything so clear, of course, also through meditation and actions and all this, now you also unify with the divine. So those are 4 different ways that we can become enlightened, enter a state of yoga. Now we are doing integral. We are synergizing the 4 paths. We are doing the 4 paths, all of them. We do a little bit of Raja. We do a little bit of asanas. We purify with breathing, the mind, the body. We're trying to keep the ethics, right, as much as possible. Then everything that we do with love. You want to give a gift with love to the school. You want to give a gift with love to your friends. You want to, bring again some flowers. And so you start doing everything with that love for serving because you see God in everybody. Right? The same thing with karma yoga, right? You want to do something that will help the community. You just don't want to do actions just on your own benefit all the time. And again, has thousands of ideas, and you can ask me for any idea because I'm an infinite source of ideas. And according to your history and your stuff, you can help the ones that need help. And then Jnana Yoga, again, I am not a good example of that, even though, I've been studying Ayurveda for the last couple years. And, it's like in any school, you have to test and you have monthly classes and monthly tests. And I don't consider myself a scholar, but every day, everybody can read 1 page. That's what I said, Some people read 10 pages. No one stops you to read 1 page a day, 1 page of philosophy, 1 page of something that really brings some practical enlightenment into your life. And now you're doing the integral yoga. You're doing all the paths in 1 day. So now you can ask questions if you like more. Then I'm finished with the lecture. Any questions are good. And this will go on your reading test. Yeah, you will need to write what I will ask, what are the four paths of yoga? And you just put, in Sanskrit and in English. Karma yoga, the yoga of selfless action. Jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge. Raja yoga, the yoga of self enlightenment, self exploration, self discovery. Bhakti yoga, the yoga of love, and that will be correct. So, any questions before we finish the class today? A little bit earlier, actually.
For Raja Yoga, I
Mhm.
know it's the yoga of self-knowledge, self-discovery, and really like the way of studying like your self-awareness is through the Ashtanga yoga, like through the 8 parts of Ashtanga yoga.
Mhm.
Because I see on the thing behind you, it says the yoga of the last 3 steps of the eightfold path.
Right, because you gotta get there. But
Okay,
basically,
so it's not just the last 3, it's all of them to
but
get to the
how,
last 3.
right, how you're going to get into the last states is through meditation,
Okay.
right? Dhyana. So if you're doing Kundalini and you get to meditation, if you're doing Hatha Yoga, you get to meditation. If you're doing Tantra Yoga and you get to meditation. It's all about meditation. And then because it's in the meditation that you get into the final samadhi enlightenment result.
Mm. Makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. No problem. It makes, much easier to see what style you are going towards to. They're
Yeah.
all, again, they're all valid. Again, you can do the four of them. But like, for example, the Bhakti yogis, they are chanting. When I got initiation in India, we were chanting 4 hours a day and wake up like around 4:30 a.m. and we chant until 6:30, 108 rounds, just like the sacred number that we study from the Upanishads.
And you're chanting mantras?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, your whole body must be vibrating at that point,
Yeah.
huh?
You're right. It's like a
Floating.
yogi rave.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that time is not like a rave. No, at
No,
that
not
time
that time.
everybody's sitting, and you can be in a
Mm.
group or you can be alone in a corner. You can be walking, you can be sitting, and you just chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Mm.
Again, according to who you're worshiping, right? If it's Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. If
It's
it's
so interesting the body can do that because I remember yesterday when you were talking about the breath works, how you can't overdo the breath works. I would think chanting, I would get to a point where I would just like explode or something. I mean, for hours, that's amazing. That is so
everybody
such
can do
a
it. We all
yeah.
mirror each other, so there's no
Yeah.
problem at all. What you cannot do, when will you not be able to do when you get distracted? And the
Mm.
mind says, no, I don't want to do this anymore. That's
Mm.
then the purification, because who is the boss?
Mm.
Is your
Mm.
soul body or is your manager the little
Oh.
guy that is like yes and no, right? If
The
the
voices
goal
and
here is to clean the scenes, clean the
Mm.
soul, clean the heart, yeah, mantra is one of the ways.
Mm.
And we want to have those states of non-thinking. Now, I don't do 4 hours a day anymore, clearly. For me, if you do it like 10 minutes and you are fully present in those 10 minutes, like completely absorbing that, okay. So you had that 10 minutes to be present.
It's almost like a tapas, right? If you're doing it for that long, or the sacrifice where you're putting heat under the heat. Right?
You don't need to make any effort to do mantras in the sense that it's just more your
Wow.
concentration.
Oh my
But like,
God.
for example, tapas, if you like do your Ashtanga Vinyasa practice, your Hatha Yoga practice, and you get tired, your muscles get tired, you're shaking, you're sweating.
Yeah.
You remember the other day it was so hot, but that's definitely tapas, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. So, but chanting mantras, what is beautiful that you will not feel like, oh my God, I was 4 hours chanting. Just walk the beach
Mm.
with chanting mantras.
Mm. Mm. Okay.
Okay, do 1 hour.
Sure.
Okay, in 1 hour
Yeah, it's
you
like
do
singing.
a lot of rounds and like that.
Hmm.
Okay, everybody.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
so
Let me
much.
stop the
Thank you.
recording.